There's a feeling, right? It starts small, like a whisper of some faraway place, and then it just grows into this undeniable urge.
Hmm.
That pull of the unknown, the excitement when you actually book that ticket, picturing yourself stepping off a plane into a whole different world. It's that, wanderlust.
Absolutely, that irresistible call.
But maybe, just maybe, there's also that tiny shadow of doubt sometimes. Like, can you actually handle it all? What if the train schedule is super confusing?
Right, or your hotel reservation has some kind of glitch.
Yeah. Or what if you just want to grab some amazing street food without doing the whole point and hope routine?
Hmm.
That little voice of doubt, for a lot of people, it speaks loudest when it comes to language, specifically English, because, well, it's so often the bridge you need, right? Connecting travelers everywhere.
It really is.
Well, okay, consider that voice acknowledged.
Yeah.
And consider us here to give you the tools to maybe quiet it down a bit. We've done a real deep dive into a whole stack of sources.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Articles packed with practical phrases, research on common travel situations, notes on everything from fun idioms to, like, crucial vocabulary for hotels and airports.
Hmm.
Our mission, really just to pull out the absolute most useful language nuggets and insights. We want to help you feel not just prepared, but actually confident on your next big adventure. Think of this as your shortcut to being well-informed, ready for those unexpected bumps, and, genuinely engaging with the world. Welcome to Daily English Practice. Listen and speak.
That's right. We've basically extracted what you need to, well, talk about wanting to travel in the first place, handle all those key interactions at the airport, comfortably check into your accommodation, order food without stress,
And importantly,
and importantly, feel equipped when inevitably travel throws you a curveball sometimes.
okay, let's unpack all of this. Starting right at the beginning, that spark, that really intense desire to travel. English has some wonderfully descriptive ways to talk about this feeling, and the sources highlight a few key ones.
Absolutely. The first one that often comes up is having itchy feet. It just paints a picture, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like your feet are physically restless, just eager to take you somewhere completely new. It describes that strong, sometimes, persistent desire to travel or maybe move on from where you are.
It feels like more than just wanting a holiday, right?
Yeah.
The source had an example, like, after 2 years at the same job, she got itchy feet and took off to teach English abroad. It suggests a real restlessness, maybe needing a change.
Exactly. And that feeling, well, it can lead to developing what people call the travel bug once you're bitten.
Oh, yeah. Hard to recover.
Yeah.
Getting the travel bug means you've developed this deep, kind of lasting desire to travel widely and frequently.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly. After her trip to Italy, she really got the travel bug. That's a classic example from one source. And once you get the travel bug, it's hard to stay at home for long. It becomes part of who you are.
Okay, so your feet are itching. You've definitely caught the bug. The next logical step is you hit the road.
Right. This simply means to begin a journey, often used for cars, like a road trip, but honestly, it can be used more broadly for any kind of departure.
So even heading to the airport.
Yeah. If you're starting any trip, maybe setting off early, you might say you're going to hit the road at dawn to avoid traffic, as one source puts it. It's just the action of setting off.
And how you travel, that can also bring up different descriptions. Like if you're a minimalist, maybe backpacking across continents, you're learning to travel light.
Which means bringing very few things. A valuable skill, I'd say.
Uh,
The sources also differentiate types of frequent travelers. You've got the road warrior,
Oh, yes.
typically someone who travels a lot, often for business, and they get really, really good at it. Efficient packing, navigating airports.
Right, like the example of the sales executive often visiting 3 cities in one week.
Mm.
They definitely learn the tricks of the trade. But then you also have the more general frequent flyer.
Yeah, just someone who travels often by plane, usually racking up loyalty points or miles. They know the airport routines inside out, maybe enjoying perks like free upgrades or lounge access, like the sources mentioned.
Okay. Now, for the kind of traveler who's looking for those really unique experiences, away from the main tourist drag, they might go off the beaten track.
Mm-hmm. This means exploring places where fewer people go, really getting away from the main tourist routes in towns, finding that hidden village or that secluded beach that's going off the beaten track.
And someone who makes a habit of this, traveling really widely, often to very different parts of the world, they get called a globetrotter.
Right. Visiting 50 countries before you're 30 definitely sounds like a globetrotter. These idioms, they really paint a picture of the motivation and the style of travel. It's a great way to connect with people who share that same passion.
It really is. Using these phrases shows you kind of get the feeling. Now, of course, we all hope for smooth sailing on our trips.
Meaning an easy trip, no problems, no obstacles.
But travel, well, like life, sometimes presents choices, unexpected turns, and you might find yourself at a crossroads.
Yeah, that point where you have to make a really crucial decision. Like after college, deciding whether to jump into work or take a year off to travel could leave you at a crossroads.
The sources also touched on a few other terms for specific travel lifestyles, like the jet set, for wealthy people traveling just for fun.
Right, or that feeling of living out of a suitcase, which means you're traveling so constantly you feel like you never really fully unpack.
And that one, rather informal term, the Mile High Club.
Yes, noted specifically as slang in the sources, as we kind of discussed, probably not one you'll use in your formal travel chats.
Definitely keep that one separate. Okay, shifting gears quite a bit here. Once the bug has bitten and you've actually hit the road, your journey often starts at a major hub,
Yeah.
the airport. And navigating that place in English needs a very specific set of words.
Oh, absolutely. It's like stepping into a mini city with its own language, almost. First, you just need to understand the physical layout. The main building is the terminal.
Right. And inside that terminal, you need to find your way to the gate, that specific spot your boarding pass tells you to go to wait and get on your plane.
And even before you get on the plane, it'll likely be on the runway, that long strip of pavement they use for takeoffs and landings.
Then, after landing, everyone heads towards baggage claim, hoping to grab their checked bags.
But first, to even get into the secure part of the airport, you have to go through the security checkpoint.
Where your bags go on the conveyor belt, often ending up on a carousel down at baggage claim.
Knowing these physical places is just fundamental. But then you also need to understand the language used by the airport staff. They tend to be pretty direct and use specific instructions or questions.
Like the classic, "Please show me your boarding pass." You'll hear that a few times.
Or, where are you flying to at check-in? Or maybe immigration.
Less fun, you might hear announcements like, "Your flight has been delayed," or, even worse, "Your flight has been canceled." Knowing those phrases lets you understand what's happening straight away.
On the bright side, hopefully, boarding will begin in 20 minutes. That's always a welcome sound.
Please proceed to security, an instruction you definitely need to follow.
And hopefully, a nice have a safe trip as you finally get on board.
Okay, so that's what we might hear. But as travelers, we also have a set of really essential questions we need to be able to ask.
Yeah, these range from just finding your way around, where is the check-in counter, or, excuse me, where is the restroom?
To getting info about your actual flight. What time does my flight leave? Or what is the boarding time?
And handling potential changes or problems. Can I change my flight?
Or the really stressful one, I lost my luggage. Knowing how to state that clearly is just vital.
Or simply confirming things. Can I get a boarding pass, please?
Beyond the places and the phrases, you also need the words for your bags and your seat on the plane.
Right. Your small bag you take onto the plane is your carry-on. Sometimes you might also have a smaller personal item, like a backpack or a purse. The carry-on usually goes in the overhead compartment.
And the bigger bag that goes underneath the plane, that's your checked bag. And you always need to be aware of the baggage allowance so you don't get hit with extra fees.
And your seat preference. A window seat for the views, obviously. An aisle seat for getting up easily. Or, well, the often less popular middle seat.
The sources even included some more technical terms you might just overhear, like taxiing. That's when the plane is just moving on the ground.
Right.
The tarmac is the paved area where the planes park.
An air marshal, that's an armed law enforcement officer who might be on a flight undercover. And turbulence, well, that's that bumpy air we all sometimes experience.
And for flying internationally, a really key point is going through customs, where officials check what goods you're bringing in. And yes, the Mile High Club was mentioned again in the source material, strictly as an informal phrase related to air travel, just a point of language reference.
Right. A good reminder that language operates on many levels, and some are definitely more appropriate for airport interactions than others. The main takeaway for the airport section is really efficiency and clarity. Using the right term gets you where you need to go faster and cuts down on stress.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so you've successfully navigated the airport maze, you've arrived at your destination. What's the next crucial step? Setting up your base and, keeping yourself fueled. Accommodation and food.
Essential language for survival and comfort. When you're booking accommodation, whether it's a hotel, a hostel, maybe a rental, you'll definitely encounter terms like reservation.
That formal booking you hopefully made ahead of time. Then there's check-in and check-out, those critical times for arriving and leaving.
You'll need to ask about availability for the dates you want
Yeah.
and find out about the amenities.
Right. What services are included? Is there free Wi-Fi? Does it include breakfast? Is there a gym? Knowing this stuff helps manage your expectation.
The place might require a deposit, which is a sum you pay up front, and you need to know if it's refundable. And you absolutely need to understand the cancellation policy.
What are the rules? What are the potential costs if your plans change and you have to cancel? Knowing that up front can save a lot of headaches later.
The sources give some really excellent structures for common interactions, too. For example, making a booking request. It's more than just saying, I want a room. You need to be polite, state your purpose clearly, give all the details, dates, number of guests, the type of room you need.
And mention any specific requirements you have. Using phrases like, could you please confirm if the room includes Wi-Fi? Or, I require a room that is wheelchair accessible, that helps ensure your needs are actually met and avoids problems down the line.
And always remember to ask for confirmation and close politely. Similarly, if you need to change or cancel a booking.
Politeness is key here, isn't it? I need to cancel my reservation due to. Followed by a short, clear reason and definitely an apology for any inconvenience.
Or suggesting alternate dates. Just communicate the need for a change early. Offer options for new dates if you can. Apologize for the disruption. These structures aren't just about being polite, they're efficient ways to communicate and really increase the chance of getting a positive result.
Okay, what about that really frustrating situation where you arrive, you have a booking, but they say there's no room? The sources mentioned overbooking.
Yes, and it's useful to understand this is different from a no-show, which is when the guest just doesn't arrive. Overbooking is when the hotel or property accepts more reservations than they actually have rooms, anticipating some no-shows.
Ah, okay.
So if they tell you they're fully booked, even though you have a reservation, the staff are usually trained to offer alternatives. You might hear things like, we're fully booked, but we can offer. Knowing this helps you understand what's going on and negotiate possible solutions.
Financial stuff, too. The source noted how hotels state they require a deposit of, and whether that deposit is refundable if you cancel, and clarifying payment like, is payment due upon arrival?
Yeah, getting total clarity on costs, deposits, and refunds. Your refund will be credited. Just make sure there are no nasty surprises when you go to checkout.
Right. So once you're checked in, settled, the next universal need is food. Ordering food is a skill, and it can vary wildly in formality depending on where you are.
Definitely. The sources provide a great breakdown of different politeness levels. At the most formal end, maybe for fine dining you might use, may I have.
May I have the steak, please? Very proper. Sounds good.
Moving to the neutral zone, which works pretty much anywhere, casual cafes, mid-range restaurants, I'd like, or I would like.
I'd like a glass of red wine. Simple, clear.
Could I have or could I get are also really common and polite in most situations.
Could I get the check, please? Absolutely essential phrase.
A little less formal, but still very widely used, can I have or can I get?
Can I have some water?
Yeah.
Adding please is always a good idea with these, right?
Always. It just smooths everything over. Now, when you're actually ready to order, especially in a sit-down restaurant, common casual options are I'll have, I'll take, I'll get pus, or even I'll try.
I'll take the pasta, or I'll try the soup. This is usually after you've looked at the menu and made your choice.
Even more casual, often if you're ordering from maybe a numbered menu or in very relaxed places, I'll go with, or let's go with.
Let's go with the chicken combo. Good for group decisions too, maybe.
And then you get to the very informal end, gimme, or give me, usually pronounced quite casually, like gimme.
Yeah, the source rightly warns that this is very informal, almost like just saying, I want. Probably best saved for people you know really well, or super relaxed spots, like maybe ordering ice cream from a stand or something. Reading the room is key.
Absolutely. Context and your tone of voice matter hugely. The sources also covered practical things like ordering for other people. I'll have the fish and she'll have the salad.
Or ordering things to share. We'll take the spring rolls to start. Or can we get an order of fries for the table? That phrase, for the table, clearly shows it's for sharing.
And very importantly, dealing with leftovers. Asking, can we get this to go, please, is common in lots of places. Or you can directly ask for takeout containers.
Or the slightly more casual, we'll take the rest for home. Mastering these kinds of phrases just makes dining out so much easier and more enjoyable.
It really does. It turns what could be a potentially stressful interaction into a comfortable one, letting you just focus on enjoying the food and the whole experience.
Okay. Now, we've covered the smoother parts, getting there, settling in, eating well. But let's be honest, travel isn't always smooth sailing, is it? Sometimes things go wrong. And this is where the language for problem solving becomes just invaluable.
Right. And this is where practicing scenarios, like the ones highlighted in the sources with that list of 30 possibilities, is incredibly useful. It goes beyond just knowing words. It's about actively using them to solve problems, often in real time.
Yeah, you have to think on the fly, as they say. Using the English, you have to describe what's happening and ask for help.
Exactly. The scenarios cover really common issues, like transport problems, for instance. You've lost or missed flights or connections. You're confused by the public transport, like buses or trains. Maybe your rental car breaks down.
Okay.
Or you realize your taxi is going completely the wrong way, or you've missed the very last train of the night.
Right. In those situations, you need to be able to explain exactly what happened. My flight got canceled. I don't understand this bus schedule at all. And then ask for solutions or alternatives. What are my options now? Is there another bus coming?
Another common and pretty stressful category is lost or stolen items, like a lost bag at the airport, losing your wallet or phone, maybe even your passport, or getting separated from the person you're traveling with.
That sounds like a nightmare. Here, the language really focuses on reporting the issue clearly. I've lost my passport, my checked bag didn't arrive, and then asking what you should do next. Who do I report this to? What's the procedure here?
Accommodation problems are also frustrating but fairly common. Arriving to find there's no room, even though you booked, discovering the booking details are wrong, maybe having a really noisy or uncomfortable room, or finding your room was given away because you arrived late.
You need to be able to clearly explain the problem to the staff. I have a reservation, but you're saying there's no room. My room is incredibly loud, and then seek a specific resolution. Is it possible to get a different room? Can I get a refund for this?
Money and transaction issues require careful, clear language. Needing to bargain politely but firmly at a market, realizing you've definitely been overcharged at a restaurant, having problems exchanging money, or maybe encountering tricky situations like fake tour guides trying to scam you.
Yeah, this involves confidently questioning prices. Of course, excuse me, is this the final price? Asking for clarification. Could you explain this charge on the bill? Or knowing how to report the scam if necessary.
Health and safety issues are obviously critical and need really clear communication. Feeling sick and needing to describe your symptoms accurately to a doctor or pharmacist, needing urgent medical help in an emergency, having trouble at immigration because of a visa or document problem, or maybe accidentally offending someone because of a cultural misunderstanding.
Oof, yeah. Here you've got to clearly explain symptoms. I have a high fever. My stomach really hurts. Ask for specific help. I need to see a doctor. Understand rules. Is there some problem with my visa? Or apologize and ask for clarification if you've caused offense. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to offend. Could you possibly explain what I did wrong?
And finally, simpler things like unexpected closures, like finding that museum or tourist spot is closed when you get there.
Right. For that, the key is just asking a local for alternative suggestions. Oh, okay. Is there something else interesting nearby you'd recommend?
Running through these scenarios, even just thinking about them mentally, helps you build confidence. Not necessarily in memorizing 30 perfect scripts, but in developing those core skills. Identifying the problem, describing it clearly, and asking for the right kind of help. It builds fluency and makes you feel more resilient when plans inevitably change.
And that ability to adapt on the fly using English, that's really empowering. So, okay, we've covered quite a journey here with the language from that initial desire, the itchy feet, and the travel bug,
Mm-hmm.
through the practical steps of navigating airports, finding accommodation, ordering food, and then tackling those inevitable moments when things don't quite go as planned.
We've pulled out a really wide range of English from those colorful idioms that express feelings to vital practical phrases for all those essential transactions and the crucial language you need for problem-solving scenarios.
I think the real takeaway here is that equipping yourself with this language isn't just about avoiding problems or, simply getting by. It's actually about unlocking a much richer, deeper travel experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing how to ask questions, understand the answers you get back, and interact confidently lets you connect with people on a different level, understand local nuances better, and move beyond just being a passive observer. It really empowers you to engage with the places and the cultures you encounter in a much more meaningful way.
And that's where the true value of a deep dive like this comes in, hopefully giving you that shortcut to feeling well informed and ready. So here's something maybe to think about. Beyond just getting you out of a top spot, how might having the confidence to use these English phrases actually open up entirely new, maybe unexpected opportunities on your journey? What fascinating conversation might you stumble into? What local secret might you uncover? Or what genuine human connection might you make simply because you had the language tools to reach out?